Today we are looking over Module 2, Lesson 14. And in Lesson 14, our objective is to use fraction and decimal multiplication to express equivalent measurements. Now, we used a lot of fraction multiplication today. I felt that it was easier for them to understand, and because we're going to be going into fractions soon, I felt like it would have been better to just use fractions. And now, all the fraction multiplication is, it's similar to what we did yesterday when we were converting, but remember yesterday I said we were going from bigger to smaller. So going from bigger to smaller, we multiplied by a whole number because, for instance, 1 year is a bigger unit than, say, 1 day because it takes 365 days to make a year. So that is a bigger unit. Well, today we are going from a smaller unit to a bigger unit. So we're going from little x to big X. So for instance, it takes 7 days to make a week. But say we only had 1 day. 1 day is equivalent to 1/7 of a week. And that's the basis of everything we'll be doing today. As you can see, it did that with the 1 quart is the same thing as 1/4 of a gallon. It did it with 1 gram. This one it did in decimal form, but 1/1000th of a kilogram is also the same as 1/1000 or 1/1000. And then again with cups, it did it. And finally, centimeters, it went back to that. You'll notice as we work through this, anything that's multiplied by 1,000 or there's 1,000 of it to make that number, as in there's 1,000 grams to make a kilogram or 100 centimeters to make a meter, they do those in decimal form. You can do them in decimal or you can do them in fraction form. Again, I showed them the fraction form because it was a little easier for them to understand that fraction form than the decimal form. And to me, it's a lot easier for them to multiply and divide it out. So let's look at let's look at the homework for today. So our first question says, we're converting quarts to gallons. So it already tells us what our fraction is. We just have to fill in the blank. So we know this is going to be 36 quarts times 1 quart. Because like I said yesterday, we're just going to split the unit off our number. So we split them. And we say this is 1 quart. Because we have to be able to multiply by 1 to get back to 36. So now we're going to have 36 times 1/4 of a gallon. When multiplying fractions, remember our whole number will multiply by the numerator, because our whole number is also the same thing as saying 36 over 1. So 36 times 1 is 36, and then 1 times 4 is 4. Well, they don't have to know that about the 1 being on 36. Now what do? Well, fractions are really just division problems. This is saying 36 over 4. So 4 is our whole, and we have 36 parts. So how many wholes do we have? So how many times does 4 go into 36? Well, we know 4 goes into 36 9 times. So our answer is 9 gallons. And that's it's a very easy conversion. I mean, I like it. I was never taught how to convert like this. It's fast. It's simple. It has a lot of working parts. We do go from a whole number to a fraction, and then multiplication with a fraction back to a whole number from that division. And now the reason I said it's easier than the decimal to me is because the students are still struggling with moving up and down the place value chart with that decimal. And we're going to be using both throughout the school year. So if they can do it with the decimal, that's great. But again, as long as we get the answer correct, that's what we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and look at D, since it does use that decimal. So D says 2,485 meters, and we're converting it to kilometers. Now, if we convert 2,485 meters, again, we know that this is 2,485. And then we know this is going to be 1 meter, because every single time when we take that unit off, we're just multiplying by 1. So again, we're going to transfer that down to 2,485. Oops, wrote that twice. So 2,485 times 1,000. Well, that's easy. We can just say that's 2,485 times 1,000th, which is 2,485 thousandths. Which we then have to know that for the place value, the 5 is going to be in the thousandths place. So we go 5, and then the 8's in the hundredths, the 4 is in the tenths. Then we have our decimal 2. So our answer is 2.485, or 2 and 485 thousandths. Now that is pretty easy as well. We don't have to do we don't have to use the fraction, and because we're using the metric system is way easier to use the decimals for. And the reason I was worried about using decimals with the kids as well is because if they try to use it with the decimal form up here, I don't want them to get too confused. So if we just use the decimal form when it comes to converting the metric system, a lot easier, because we are just moving up and down the place value chart. It's not like the customary system, where the customary system, it's 12 inches or 3 feet in a yard or so on and so forth. The metric unit is much easier to use with that decimal form. So if they can do it with the decimal form, they can. It works. That's what's important, as long as they're getting the right answer. And then E, F, and C, they can try on their own. Let me put those answers up real quick. Make sure that we know how we're getting there. Now, I'm not just putting the answers there for you just write down the answer. I should see all the steps for you to get there. So let's see. Lesson 14, we have answers. Let's see. C, we're going to have 7 and 6 meters. E, we're going to have 3 and 9 thousandths. And then F, we're going to have, make sure I put those units on there, so kilograms. And then F, we're going to have 205 thousandths. Now, again, make sure when you're working these problems out, make sure you're getting the answers, and we're not just rewriting what I wrote down. I know I should see some steps in here, just like they're demonstrated above. All right, now let's go ahead and look at the next page. Let me erase this all real quick. Let's look at the next page. All right, and then the last page is just like yesterday, word problems. Now, the word problems, again, we just have to understand what we're converting to and from. So a jug of juice holds 8 cups. Convert 8 cups to pints. So we're going cups to pints. We know that there are 2 cups in a pint. So if we're converting cups to pint, then we would say 8 times 1 cup, 8 times 1/2 pint, 8 over 2 pints. Oops, got ahead of myself. And then we know that is 4 pints. But again, we had to write a written statement to support this. We could say, over here it just easily says the screen measures 36 inches or 3 feet. So we could say the jug holds 8 cups or 4 pints. All right. So we're going to do that again for the rest of them. Again, I'm going to give you the answer to those. I feel like these are pretty self-explanatory as long as you're practicing how to convert right here. And we're following the same model over and over again. All right, so let me put those answers down real quick. So C is 5 and 29th meter. We have 2 and 6 hundredths of a liter. 1,560 kilograms. And 372 and 600ths kilometer. All right. Remember, I need a written statement, and I need to see that worked out. The written statement can be as easy as that, like I showed. The jug holds 8 cups or 4 pints. So, it's very simple. So, again, let's see if we can work those out. Easy peasy. We're going to have our retake tomorrow for that min module. I didn't want to cram too much in their head before that. So this is about 2 lessons worth, and it's going to help them as we move forward with that multiplication with fractions, and also it's a reminder and a review of that multiplication with tens, hundreds, thousands, and also tenths, hundreds, and thousands. So have a good night. I'll see you all tomorrow.